Today we're going to talk about what happens when your spiritual master leaves. What happens to you? What happens to your spiritual life? How do you go on? So Prabhupada was often asked about what's going to happen after you leave, because when we leave, the movement continues. When Prabhupada leaves, we question whether the movement would continue. We know that individually we may leave. It's not going to be an earthquake for ISKCON. It may be some earthquake for the disciples and some people, obviously, but it's not going to destroy ISKCON. And Prabhupada said, I will never leave. I live forever within my books. You've heard this before. I want to talk about it. What does Prabhupada mean here when he says, I will never leave? It means we shouldn't talk about Prabhupada in past tense. We should only talk about Prabhupada in present tense. Prabhupada said, no. Prabhupada says, Prabhupada is saying, he's saying in his books for the next 10,000 years, let's start talking about Prabhupada in the present tense. Prabhupada is here through his instructions. He's here through his service. You'll say, yeah, but if Prabhupada were here, things would be different. Of course. But we can't minimize the reality that he is present in his instructions. He's not an historic figure. And so you say, you were so fortunate. You were able to be with Srila Prabhupada. Of course we were fortunate. But Prabhupada is living through his instructions right now. There's no difference between those instructions that we heard sitting in the class and you right now sitting to that recording. Absolutely no difference. Maybe in your consciousness there's a difference because you think, oh, that was 50 years ago and I didn't see Prabhupada. Don't think that way. Don't think Prabhupada is an historic figure. Think Prabhupada is present. Prabhupada says, Prabhupada in a morning walk on this date, Prabhupada said, okay, but I read his books. Prabhupada is saying, Prabhupada is telling me right now what Prabhupada is saying. It is relevant. Don't think it's outdated, it's outmoded, it's not relevant. We need some new instruction. No, when Prabhupada says something, think it's like Prabhupada is in my room telling me right now, this is what it's like. That's very important. I want to make another point. Two more points. How will you go on? How will you exist after your spiritual master? You have unlimited instructions from your spiritual master. You have unlimited instructions from Srila Prabhupada. As you connect to Srila Prabhupada now, you will feel even more connected when your spiritual master leaves. And that connection is going to be essential for you when your spiritual master goes, as you feel Prabhupada's presence and guiding hand taking care of you, as well as your own spiritual master's presence and guiding hand. Then you will be steady. You will be able to become advanced in Krishna consciousness. Keep advancing, even if your spiritual master is not here. Last thing I want to say is something that I think will help you understand how fortunate you are, because a lot of you feel like, I'm not fortunate. You are fortunate because you were with Prabhupada. You are fortunate because you were initiated by Prabhupada. But only if I could have seen Prabhupada, if only I could have been with Prabhupada, then. Well, let me explain something to you. I became a devotee in 1969. The senior devotees in 1969 had been devotees, well, a few, 66, 67. So senior might have been 4 years. I came in October 69. So that would have given the first few devotees that joined 4 years by October 1969. And most of the devotees did not come in those first years. So basically, senior devotee when I joined meant 2, 3 years, even 1 year. Okay, well, let's say we'll be generous. We'll say 4 years was a senior devotee. How old were they? Oh, 26, 24, 28. The old men in ISKCON were 29 when I joined. I believe they were 29. Those were the seniors. How much experience did they have? Very little. How much did they know? Very little. How much experience did ISKCON have? Very little. How many books were translated? Very few. How many videos were available? 0. How many recordings? A few. How many verses did you have access to in Sanskrit in the Bhagavad Gita? 0. If we had access to them, it was from a lecture. by Srila Prabhupada. That's how we knew the Sanskrit, because he quoted it. What's the point I'm making? The point I'm making is, look at today. Look what you have today. You have devotees all around you with 30, 40, 50 years of experience, learned scholars, renunciates, people who have done so much. You have people with so much experience, so much wisdom, so much insight, so much learning. So to say, oh, you're so fortunate you had Prabhupada. Yeah, but we had a movement of people who didn't know anything. You have a movement now of thousands of people that are brilliant. How advanced were the senior devotees when I joined? Not very advanced. Now you have a movement of so many advanced devotees. And again, Prabhupada's here. He's in their hearts. He's everywhere. You can't miss him. Prabhupada is coming at you from all sides. So you're so fortunate. And when you realize this, then at that point, that unfortunate day when your spiritual master leaves this world, you'll realize, I have total shelter in Prabhupada, I have total shelter in the Vaishnavas, and I still have shelter in all the valuable lessons that I received from my spiritual master. As a spiritual master, I always think, how will my disciples do after I leave? As every spiritual master thinks. And we know if you take Srila Prabhupada in your heart and you serve the Vaishnavas and you listen to the Vaishnavas, you will excel in your bhakti. Nothing can stop you. No situation is going to alter you. And you will feel very close to your spiritual master, even though he's not gone, by serving Prabhupada, because he is trying to introduce you to Prabhupada. One last thing. I know this is long, but stay with me, because it's a very interesting thing Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said, the goal of the spiritual master is to introduce you to Krishna within the heart. And when the spiritual master introduces you to Krishna so you can hear Krishna from within the heart, he said, his job is finished. You are now guided by the Chaitya Guru, the Guru inside. Similarly, we feel that our goal as spiritual masters is to guide you to Prabhupada so that you can take shelter and relish and learn and understand, and especially become attached to him as your Guru also. And if we can do that, we feel we're successful, because we know now that you will be stable in your bhakti long after we're gone. So meditate on these things. Very, very important. And it's a big concern, because it's a difficult time when your spiritual master leaves. But you have everything you need to be Krishna conscious.